Hey you guys, what is up? Welcome to another episode of my vlog. How y'all doing today? I hope y'all are having a fantastic and a beautiful day. Well, today, the thing is that I'm a bit delayed than the other guys on YouTube to talk about the Adventure 390 that is coming out very soon, especially in India and the other countries worldwide. So let me just talk about it because I got a couple of things since I am a KTM owner. So what did I like about the motorcycle and what I didn't like about the motorcycle, I'm going to tell you guys in this vlog. So stay tuned, and am I going to buy it? Yes or not? We're going to discuss about this in the end of the vlog. Alright guys, so the first and the most important thing is that I was not expecting this motorcycle. As we see in the pictures today from EICMA, you know, the motorcycle is totally different than what I expected. I was thinking that they might come up with two variants, like one is going to be the super off-road variant and one is going to be the normal road and off-road variant kind of thing. What I'm trying to say is that I was expecting a 390R and a 390 Adventure. So that is not the case this time. The 390 Adventure that is coming out is very different than we expected. Unfortunately, that's the sad part. So the major difference that you see in this motorcycle comparatively to the Duke 390 is that it has an adjustable front suspension and the rear suspension, and the size of the rims has also increased comparatively. But the sad part is that the travel of the front suspension is not that much as we expect, you know, from a KTM kind of a brand motorcycle. You know, so this is not having that kind of travel. The aesthetics of the motorcycle is very similar to the 790 Adventure. So you could expect kind of a smaller 790 kind of feel. When you talk about the engine, the gear ratios, and the other sort of things, you know, like the chain, the final drive and everything hasn't changed from the KTM Duke. I'm not really sure how it's going to feel on off-road. When you talk about on-road conditions, it's of course going to be good. You have the kind of, you know, the mid-range and all up to the, you know, to the red line, you have the kind of power. When we talk about the initial RPMs, that's not where we get enough power. So I don't know how they have done it, but this time it's a whole different thing. I don't think it's fair enough to comment on this right now. To be very frank and honest, everything looks good in the motorcycle except the alloys. You know, I'm not a fan of alloy, you know, especially about the Duke motorcycles. You know, there's a lot of complaints regarding the alloy wheels. You know, it bends, it gets cracked and such things. So obviously when you get an adventure kind of motorcycle, you are bound to do a lot more off-roads and, you know, a lot more hardcore activities than the Duke. And I'm not really sure how it's going to last, how the alloys are going to survive that kind of bang. That's a whole different topic, so we cannot discuss this right now. It has a traction control. When we talk about traction control on this kind of motorcycle, I don't think it's gonna do a real good deal, because this first thing, when you're off-road, you don't need that kind of traction control. But then when you're on-road conditions, being a Duke owner myself, I haven't felt the need of a traction control because it doesn't have that kind of, you know, huge power that, you know, you find your rear wheel slipping all the way. Nah, that's not a thing. I haven't found that much amount of wheel spin. So I don't know why did they put it in, but from what I understand, a lot of off-roaders wouldn't, you know, keep the traction control on when they go for off-roads. They would usually turn it off. I hope, you know, they come up with a lot more accessories for the motorcycle, because the headlight, if it's similar to the Duke 390, you know, the intensity and the power and everything, I don't think it's going to do much of a deal. You know, it's not going to be a deal breaker, trust me, because the Duke 390 headlight is not sufficient. You know, it doesn't give that amount of throw on the road, especially in rain conditions, foggy conditions. I have tried it and I know it by myself. You need to get extra aux lights for your motorcycle. And then when you look at the shape of the motorcycle and the body of the motorcycle, you don't find a rare tray on the motorcycle. So I don't know if they're going to include it as an, you know, aftermarket accessory or something like that. But so far, I was expecting that to be included in the motorcycle. So that is kind of a bummer. It might be a good motorcycle, a good ADV motorcycle, if you want to use it for dual purposes, more on the roads rather than the off-roads. So that's what KTM also claims. This is designed for that kind of segment and niche. And the front headlight is basically going to be placed in one position. It's not going to be movable like the Dukes. It's just going to be like the RCs, stuck in one place, like a proper ADV motorcycle. I believe the tail light has slightly changed. And now talking about the engine is the same as the Duke 390, but it comes out with the Euro 5 emission norms. I don't know about the heat management, how they have come up with the heat management of the motorcycle. Is it fair? I got no clue, you know, because my Duke really heats up. I know this for a fact. This has been happening with me, especially after coming to Delhi. I don't know how it's going to be for city conditions. Of course, not going to be that good. It's going to be good for open roads, open stretches, or you want to take it to the mountains. That will be much better, and that will be basically the playground for this motorcycle. And about the stance of the motorcycle, when you talk about the ergonomics of the motorcycle, this time it's going to be a little bit more higher, so you don't have to, go all the way down, so you can stand upright. So that's what KTM claims, and that's how they have designed the motorcycle. But still, handlebar raiser would be really nice for this motorcycle, or an aftermarket handlebar would do the job even much better. The weight of this motorcycle has significantly increased over the Duke. Right now it's about 10 kgs heavier. This time it is way higher than most of the adventure motorcycle in the category. So that is again another challenge for short riders. A lot of riders has to take a second thought on this to buy it or not, because when you're on off-road, you have to make sure that you have your feet on the ground. You never know, maybe KTM might come out with some low seat height options or something as an aftermarket part. Nevertheless, in India you cannot expect power parts. Most of it, as I've seen, there's no power parts coming to India. I don't know why, but people watching from outside, you guys can enjoy all these power parts. Let's hope that KTM comes with low ride options. And talking about the tires this time in India, it's going to be Seat tires and not Metzeler's or any other brand of tires. So I'm not really sure how good it is going to be, and whether it can survive that kind of beating and bashing that we usually do. So that's going to be another whole different story. So let's expect this motorcycle to be a good motorcycle. Now, if you ask me personally, would I buy this motorcycle? To be very frank and honest, I don't see the point of buying that motorcycle. It doesn't really have a huge difference than my KTM Duke, aside from the wheel size and the stance of the motorcycle, the ergonomics of the motorcycle, and the suspension. So the engine is basically the same, the final drive is the same. So it makes, I don't know, unless I'm a big fanatic of that kind of thing. But then when you talk about ownership of that motorcycle, to be very frank and honest, owning a KTM, you never know what part could fail or what part could go wrong. So that is another thing, and KTM motorcycles usually, if you want to take it off-road, you have to maintain the motorcycle. Me, myself, I would basically go and invest that money into a Hero Xpulse. So people watching from outside, you guys must be wondering what the hell is that motorcycle. They have debuted this motorcycle in EICMA too. So Hero says that they're going to come up with a new motorcycle, and it's going to be more into off-road oriented motorcycle than the current version that they have already in the market, which is launched, the Hero Xpulse 200. And of course, I know that the displacement is not so high and it doesn't have that kind of advanced engine. But when you talk about off-road, going to far-flung places, the most important thing is that you want a motorcycle that is easy, that is fixable, and that is, that you could fix everything and anything on that motorcycle that goes wrong. So that means it has the least amount of electronics in the motorcycle. That's a good thing. When you're thinking about long distances, if you have a lot of electronics in your motorcycle, and God forbid, if any of those electronics fail, you're going to have a huge challenge. So that's one of the reasons why I would be more inclined towards a Hero Xpulse. The cost of ownership is very cheap, which I would say is a plus for me, because off-roader motorcycle, you never know when you're going to fall. You never know what's going to happen. You never know when things are going to go wrong. And when you talk about off-road, you can never go about 80 kilometers is crazy. Nor you can do it on a big motorcycle, nor you can do it on an Xpulse. So basically what I'm trying to say is that on an off-road condition, wherever you go, any motorcycle, you basically need the initial power to pull off your motorcycle from the rut that you're stuck in. And the amount of beating that your Hero Xpulse can take, I don't think KTM can take. Even though KTM can take that kind of beating, but the thing is that in case something breaks down or something happens to your motorcycle, then it's going to get really expensive. And when you're talking about the front suspensions, the adjustable suspension and everything, really looks fancy. It's a very nice deal. When these suspension breaks down or something happens to these kind of suspensions, it's going to cost a lot of money from your pocket. So if you guys are ready and you guys have that kind of money and you think that you can own this motorcycle and you can run this motorcycle, the cost of ownership can be maintained and can be taken care of, so you can happily go for that motorcycle. To be very frank and honest, I don't think I'm going to switch to the Adventure 390 unless and until a hardcore Adventure 390 comes out. I know that I wouldn't do that kind of jumping and that kind of bumping, but the thing is that just for the satisfaction of yourself, that you know that your bike can take to that kind of limit. But what KTM claims is that no motorcycle as such is coming out anytime soon. So right now I'm just excited about one thing from Hero, is that I'm waiting for the Xpulse that they showcased right now recently. So it's going to come out with more off-roading kits. You can take this motorcycle on a dirt track, or maybe you can do some kind of really hardcore off-road on this motorcycle, and you don't have to worry a bit about it because everything is almost going to be very cheap for this motorcycle comparatively to the KTM motorcycles. So this is my take, and this is what I think personally about this motorcycle. The launch for this motorcycle in India is officially going to be during the IBW time. So you could expect maybe a different kind of version for India. Overall, it's going to be this motorcycle that they just showcased at EICMA 2019. And this is what I think about this motorcycle myself. And I don't know about you guys, but honestly, I wasn't surprised. I was expecting a little bit more from KTM after waiting for so long. It's been over about like 3 years since we are hearing this, that an adventure is going to come out and this is going to be this and that and spoke wheels, but everything just went. Let's hope for the best and let's keep our fingers crossed. And if you guys have any questions, you want to ask anything, just please go down in the comment section below and just do let me know. So I'm going to catch you guys in another episode. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye bye. Love. Peace.